guys, what's up? It's Vampire Bride. Today I'm going to be talking about the Intel i7 2600K processor, aka Sandy Bridge. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Up until recently, I've had a 2600K in my build, since I got the original build about 5 years ago. I've never really had a reason to upgrade until recently, when I just really wanted to see what the 3770K could do. Something in my system was causing my system to blue screen. The only things that were left from the original build I had bought were the motherboard, the processor, and the power supply. So I decided to first change out the processor, even though the Intel burn tests were still showing that the 2600K was running perfectly fine. I've also since changed out the power supply, and my PC can still tend to blue screen from time to time. I think it's time for a new motherboard. But back to talking about the 2600K. The core clock for the 2600Ks is 3.4 GHz. I have had mine successfully overclocked to 4.5 GHz. 4.6 was where my PC decided to draw the line and start blue screening. That being said, I am using an AIO. Before I added the AIO, I was able to overclock my processor to 4.4 GHz. When it was only air-cooled, I could overclock it to 4.4 successfully and play any game. One of the games I liked to test my processor's overclocking with was June 2016. If the processor could withstand that and your PC not blue screened, you are probably okay. At least that's how it's been with my build anyway. Not bad for an almost 9-year-old processor. Not bad at all. And that's just with my systems. I have read accounts of the 2600K being overclocked successfully quite a bit higher. 2600Ks were overclocked champions of their time. 15 months after the 2600Ks came out, they were followed by the 3770Ks. But even though those are great processors, they don't match the 2600K's overclocking abilities. Intel, of course, has been improving its processors with each generation, but they are improving little bits at a time because since the 2600K, there is just not that much competition in the area of processors. Currently, you can get a Sandy Bridge processor for around $100. They came out in 2011 as an extreme or high-end processor and have 8 megabytes of cache memory. Normal temperature for this processor should be between 47 degrees Celsius and 60 degrees Celsius, not exceeding 72 degrees Celsius.
My system's temperature while under load maxes out at 68 degrees Celsius, and that is at 100% CPU usage. I have 3 stress tests here to show, the first one being the Intel burn test, a program that is supposed to simplify the usage of Intel LinPack and greatly stresses your CPU. This is a warning that was given online. Keep in mind, use this program at your own risk. By using this program, you agree that neither I nor Intel shall be responsible for including, but not limited to, burned up CPU, fried motherboard, spontaneous room temperature increase, hair loss, or mental stress. Wait a second, should we really be using this? Next, of course, we have Cinebench, as it is kind of the go-to for CPU testing. It evaluates your computer components based on real-world use, or what you may actually be using your computer to do. Not sure why Cinebench marked my system as Windows 8 when it's Windows 10, but at least it got the CPU right. My system with a 2600K got a 715 Cinebench score, so not the best but not bad for an Intel i7 2600K. And last I have the MSI Combustor Particle Effect Stress Test, though many people would assume this is more of a GPU intensive test since it is an MSI test. It also stresses and tests the CPU. Another quote here, this one taken from Geeks 3D. The CPU burner is a tool to load all available CPU cores with a multi-threaded stress test. As you can see here, it brought my CPU all the way to 100% usage, but my CPU still stayed well within the appropriate temperature.
So how does this processor hold up almost 9 years later? Well, I use my system for both gaming and video editing. For gaming, it does great, and for video editing and photo editing even, I don't really have much of an issue with it. That being said, if you are looking for higher processing speeds for your editing, you may want to upgrade a bit. But for me personally, it has been just fine, and I haven't had a complaint with it. If your processor is starting to bottleneck your system, then of course it would be wise to start to upgrade to, say, a 3770K or better. If you're using a 1080 Ti graphics card or better, then the 2600K of course will still work, but it will probably start at this point to bottleneck your system. I have successfully used a 980 Ti for months with the 2600K without any issues, so I wouldn't say that it has been bottlenecking my system with the 980 Ti, especially with it being overclocked. This processor can be used for high-end builds as well as budget builds. If you're looking for a processor at or around the $100 range, then I would stick with the 2600K, as it is as good, if not better, than the other processors in its price range. The price versus performance for the 2600K makes it a great deal. That's all I have to say today about the Intel i7 2600K processor, also known as Sandy Bridge. Thank you guys for watching the video. If you liked it, hit that like button, and of course, subscribe for more videos to come.